What up guys, SuMetal983 here to bring you another album review, and this time we've got a very hard EP for you to check out if you're into your Nu-Metalcore, the sort of genres that we've talked about before, nu metal mixes with metalcore, deathcore and downtempo. Definitely check this one out if that's your sort of thing. But I'm going to be talking about the new Stillbloom EP until Melancholia, I believe how it's pronounced, and this is released through Chugcore, I believe. But yeah, if you're not too familiar with Stillbloom, they are a kind of, like I said, a kind of new deathcore sort of band, kind of in vein of what we've talked about recently on this channel, the wave of Nu-Metalcore that's been going around a lot over the past year or so, 2 years or while, that's really developed itself as a genre. But this is my first exposure to the band. I have checked out their debut album, which is called Downer, which is a very solid album, and I might as well add, I've also got a bundle of both the albums on CD coming from Chugcore, so I'm really looking forward to when those show up. But I want to do a review on this, so let's crack on with it. But this is the band's second release, and this EP, honestly, has struck gold with me, if you ask me. This is quite promisingly my favourite EP of 2019 so far. I know we're only into late February, but honestly, this I've had this on so much, it's just absolutely devastating to listen to. Like, this is easily one of the heaviest things I have heard in 2019 so far, but it's obviously neck on neck with the new Traitors, because that is a good album, but we'll talk about that in another video. But yeah, this is repulsively heavy. It's hard, it's very noisy as well. It's definitely got that kind of 90s nu metal sort of vibes going on there, and the more modern aspect of metalcore in there, giving it that really noisy, synthy, you know, disturbing sort of vibe in there. It just sounds like quite like electronic synthy sort of stuff going on in between breakdowns and stuff that really give it a really noisy, chaotic sort of atmosphere that's just like creates really unique atmosphere. I absolutely love those elements on this. But then obviously on top of that, overlapping that is the heaviness. This is, dare I say it, as heavy as the likes of Born Hanged by Black Tongue or the Hate Campaign by Traitors. It's up that sort of level of heavy. I mean, it's just thick, beefy, chunky, hard-hitting riffs, left, right, and centre. There is literally, it's only 18 minutes long, but from beginning to end, it doesn't let up. It's literally just an all-out assault of just senses and just physical. You feel physically abused when you listen to this EP. I absolutely adore the overall thick, juicy guitar tone that is on here. It's just overwhelming, should we just say. I don't think I've ever heard anything in a long time that has sounded this massive, if you ask me. I mean, like as I've said, Black Tongue's Born Hanged was probably the last time I heard anything this repulsively heavy. I mean, I probably should have said something like that before, but honestly, I do feel that when I listen to this. The drum work is very relentless, very groovy, but it's very simplistic when it needs to be. And that's what I love about downtempo, is it's nothing flash. It's nothing over the top. It's just very creative, just very heavy, and just nothing like flash about it. I absolutely love it, and this is kind of falls in line with that sort of simple makes more sort of vibes in there, and I absolutely adore it, if you ask me. And on top of that, you've got the vocals. The vocals are incredibly well executed. There's got a lot of variation there. The lower sort of end vocals kind of remind us of Alex from Black Tongue a lot, in the like low, powerful, you know, you could say false chord sort of vocals, where they're just made for sheer power, you know. They're just overwhelming. They just feel so destructive and violent. It's unbelievable to hear. And then on top of that, you've got the kind of like the hardcore nu metal sort of vibe vocals in there. They kind of put you in mind of the likes of Knock Loose, for example. I definitely get those sort of vibes on there. And then obviously those coming in, it just creates that kind of violent throwdown sort of atmosphere in there that just makes you want to spin kick everything in your path and punch people. I believe that this is one of the best releases to get your shit pumped up on adrenaline and just feel those heavy riffs just punching you just full force, and there's nothing more satisfying than that when it comes to down tempos, when it hits you very, very hard, and this is definitely a one that will hit you very, very hard. The songs are just very well written, and the pace of this just never lets go from beginning to end. It's just relentless and violent. I absolutely love it, and it's just that combination, like as I said before, of like this down-tempo deathcore, the down-tempo deathcore sound that we all know and love, but crossing it with the new metalcore, new metal sort of sound in there. There's only a couple of bands that have really pulled that off, if you ask me, and the only bands that really come to mind are Starve to Survive and what's the band called? It's just gone. Victims. So VCTMS, not, obviously missing the eyes, but yeah, Victims, Starve to Survive, that sort of vibe. Definitely, if you're a fan of Lotus Eater from the UK as well, definitely think you'll find something like this. But definitely, if you're a fan, if you also like Black Tongue and Traitors, there's nothing that you can't like about this. It's just noisy, repulsively heavy, and just aggressive as hell. From track 1 to track 7, it just never lets up. The very short songs, they'll only span around 3 minutes in length each song, but they're just so memorable, these songs. And my particular favourites on this are Decaying, which is the second track. Make sure you check it on out. That is an absolute banger. The title track, Melancholia, I believe I'm pronouncing it right. Unknown.exe. I don't know how you meant to pronounce it, but I'm just going to go with that, Unknown. And how it ends, the closing track just closes it just so correctly. If you ask me, that's the only way I can really put it. But yeah, if you're a fan of those bands that I said before, Lotus Eater, Traitors, or even Sworn In to an extent, Victims, if you're a fan of any of those bands, make sure you check out Still Bloom with their new EP, Melancholia. It's just awesome. It's just such a fun EP to listen to. Short, brutal, and violent, and noisy. I absolutely love this. It's just overwhelming. And for an overall score, though, you can probably guess it. I'm going to give this a solid 10 out of 10. Excellent EP. Definitely one of my favourite EPs of 2019 so far. Emmure conquered the throne of 2019's EP releases. We'll see come year's end, but it's going to take a fucking lot to top this. Is absolutely outstanding, great musicianship, and just dirty. Absolutely love it. But yeah, I'll see you until the next video, and remember, stay metal, and I'll see you later.